family, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me adjust myself in this chair. Hi, you guys. Okay, let me stop playing. Hi, family. I guess I should have adjusted before I started the video. Hi, family, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me adjust myself in this chair. Okay, that was a lot. Let me start over. Hi, family, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is ChrisCecele, and today's video is going to be a story time. So it's going to be a story time about my battle with Graves' disease. I no longer have Graves' disease, thank you, Jesus, because I no longer have a thyroid. I don't know if you can see the scar. Sometimes it peeks its head, sometimes it doesn't. But I had a total thyroidectomy. I believe it was 2013. But I'll get to that. So what is Graves' disease? It is an immune system disorder of the thyroid gland in which this gland emits too much of the hormone, which is not good for our bodies. So the thyroid controls everything. Our brain development, our muscles. For females, our reproductive system. It controls our metabolism. It even controls our moods when we are depressed or we feel anxious. All of that is controlled by this little hormone here. So I'll start from the beginning. I remember I was wrapping up grad school. I was actually finishing my thesis, and I was at a study session with one of my professors, and I remember he had offered us some chamomile tea. And after I drank that tea, I got really sick. I just was not feeling good. I was nauseated. And, I'm like, maybe it just didn't agree with me. I don't know. So some time passed, about a week or so passed, and I started to just vomit profusely. I could not stop. And so I figured maybe I just have a bug or something like that. So I just did the things we do when we feel like we have maybe the flu. I don't know, NyQuil or whatever. I don't really remember. I just know that it never let up. So I remember also with this time period, I couldn't hold food down. And not only that, I didn't even want food. And then I started to lose weight at an alarming rate, like just dropping weight. And so finally I went to the hospital. My parents insisted. They took me to ER. And so I'm going to group 2 times that I went to ER, because both times I went, I had the same doctor. So I went to ER, and the doctor came in to see me, and I said, you know what, something is not right. I'm throwing up all the time. I can't keep any food down. I don't have a desire to even eat food. And beyond that, I'm losing weight so fast. I said, by this time, I had lost about 50 pounds, like immediately. And so I remember this doctor looking at me, and he was like, wow, you lost 50 pounds. I said, yes, sir, I did. He's like, that's great, because you're very obese, and that's why you're sick. You're obese, so you're getting sick. And so I looked at him and I said, with all due respect, you're very mistaken. I'm not sick because I'm obese. And the fact that I have lost so much weight in such a fast time, something is not right. So he just gave me some fluids. He pretty much brushed it off both times that I went. And that was that. So I remember my birthday was coming around, and I had gone to dinner with my family, and I had a great time with them, but I was very, very sick at that dinner. And I remember I couldn't really breathe. I was having a hard time catching my breath. So I went back to ER. This time when I went to ER, I told them in the waiting room, whatever you do, don't give me, and I told them who the doctor was, and I told them what he had said to me, and they were floored. So I did not get that doctor. And actually they called me back right away because I was having such a hard time breathing. And I remember a new doctor came in. He was very kind, and he looked at my vitals, and he looked at me, and his eyes got really big. And he said, your heart is literally beating as if you are running a marathon, and all you're doing is laying here. And so he said, there's no way that I can let you go home like that. So I got admitted. And what he did was he put me on a heart pill to regulate my heartbeat, to bring it down. But he told me when I got out the hospital, he said, please be sure that you go to your general physician, because something is going on with you. And, you know, of course, in the emergency room, they really only deal with the immediate concern. So I went to see Dr. Mack, who was awesome. She's recently passed on, but I absolutely loved her. And she did a very simple test. She had me close my eyes and hold my arms out in front of me. And what I left out was, in the midst of me being very sick, in the midst of me, you know, losing all this weight, not being able to eat, I also could not hold my head still. So I literally, I promise you, I'm not being funny, I was like a human bobblehead. Like, I had to work to hold my head steady, because other than that, it was a whole thing. I couldn't even write. My hands were not steady enough to write. So she referred me to my endocrinologist, who I see now. His name is Dr. Zaitun, and he is absolutely awesome. So he put me on a supplement to help regulate my thyroid. And I did feel better for a little while, but then I started to grow a goiter, a huge mass in my throat. And it was annoying. It was uncomfortable. It was a lot. So, you know, he monitored that, and he said, okay, because he was not the type of doctor who wanted to just immediately have me undergo surgery, because it was a major surgery, and then taking the thyroid out, you know, that's the last resort. So he said, I'm going to have you do this radiation treatment. It was a radioactive iodine treatment, a little bitty pill that I took. I had to swallow, and the radiation in that pill would target the goiter and shrink it. That was the goal. So, not being funny, I was quarantined for a weekend because the excess radiation was still coming out of my system. So it was dangerous to be around children, to be around pets, and then just in close proximity with people. So at the time, I had a dog at home. I was there with my parents and my brother. So my grandma put me up in a hotel, and I was instructed by the doctor to wash my hair every day. I had to Lysol the toilet down every time I used the bathroom, and I had to flush the toilet 3 times every time I used the bathroom. Yes, it was a whole production. So I stayed in a hotel, went through that. I actually did begin to feel better. I was having less discomfort with the goiter, and, you know, I thought I was doing pretty good. That was very short-lived. The goiter eventually started growing back, started growing bigger. And this time it was to the point where I couldn't lay down. I had to sleep sitting up. When I tried to swallow food, it would literally get stuck behind the goiter. And so my doctor was like, okay, you got to have surgery. But I couldn't have surgery right away because I had just had that radiation treatment, and I had to wait months for that to totally be out of my system. So I just had to endure it, but God was with me every step of the way. A key factor that I'm leaving out, or that I left out in this, is as I went through this process, I did not have any health insurance, none. And so I'll just use the radioactive iodine treatment. That little bitty pill that I took was thousands of dollars. Not only that, there's a test that you have to take before you can even do the radiation treatment. That test was thousands of dollars. I got a letter in the mail shortly after I went through that process saying that my bill was wiped out 100%. I didn't ask anybody to do that. I didn't even know I could ask the hospital to do that at that time, but they did that. God did that for me. So I was referred to a surgeon. This surgeon was absolutely awesome, absolutely awesome. But he did tell me, you know, he said, when you have this surgery, for one, because of where it is, and then because of how large your goiter is, there is a very large possibility that your vocal cords will be damaged permanently. And also you could have nerve damage in your neck. And he said, but I've done a lot of these surgeries, and my goal is for none of that to happen. Oh, also, before I even got to this point, as far as the surgery, my endocrinologist told me, because of how crazy my levels were, he prepared me for all of my hair to fall out. He said, your hair is going to fall out. And in addition to that, your eyes are going to bulge out of your head, and there's nothing you could do about it. So I was like, okay. None of that ever happened. None of it happened. Okay, so let me go back to the surgery. So had the surgery. It was very long. It was long because once the surgeon got in there, he realized that things were a little more complicated than what they appeared. But God brought me through that surgery. I could not talk right after the surgery. I had to limit just anything I said for quite some time after the surgery. But I made it through. God is good. So, made it through the surgery, and all of that weight I lost, that 50, actually it was almost 60 pounds that I lost, I regained it. It came back with a vengeance because I no longer had a thyroid. So now nothing was there to even regulate my metabolism just a little bit. I mean, as quickly as I lost that weight, I gained it back quicker. So once I recovered and everything from the surgery, I got my strength back. I felt so much better. I felt so much better in my body. But I had to get that weight off of me. So I was able to start working out again. I was able to go back to work because I also left that out. Though I was in grad school when this started, I was not able to work because I was too weak to do anything. So I made it through the surgery. I was able to get that weight off of me, and I'm here today. So everything that the doctors prepared me for, as far as permanent damage to my body, it didn't happen. My vocal cords were not damaged. I had no nerve damage. My hair did not fall out. Only thing that happened with my hair is the texture changed, and my stylist, who was also my friend, gave me reconstructive treatments every week, and that helped to reverse what was happening with my texture. But my eyes didn't bulge out my head, and I am thankful to God. Like I said, I didn't work, but I never missed a meal. All of my bills were paid. I was able to get my prescriptions. I was able to have that surgery and only have a very small balance that was left over for me to pay. God proved himself over and over again to me in that time frame. I remember I had a puppy at the time, and when your thyroid is removed, it is key that you take your Synthroid. Synthroid is what makes your body think that you have a thyroid. And so missing a dose was not an option. It would be detrimental to you. And I remember I was in a lot of pain just after the recovery or during the recovery, and I had fallen asleep. And my little puppy, I don't even know how he knew other than the Lord. He came by my bed and he shook his collar. He shook his collar until I woke up. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I looked at the clock. It was time for my medicine. And remember, I said missing a dosage would have been detrimental. It's a puppy. God used my puppy to wake me up to take my medicine. That's just one of the few things that he did to just show me, Chris, I'm with you. So when I was dealing with Graves' disease, I would share some of my journey on social media, and I would have people inbox me that maybe were experiencing some of the symptoms that I talked about, or they knew that they had a thyroid disorder, and we were able to talk with each other and encourage each other, and I was able to offer advice as I felt led to do that. And so that for me was confirmation that a lot of times when we deal with whatever it is, whatever the test, whatever the trial is, it's not always for us. It's for somebody else, so that we can encourage them and let them know, look, I made it. You're going to make it too. So I hope that if nothing else from this video, you got a reminder that God is with you. God is for you. God always causes you to triumph. Like I said, I never had medical insurance during that bout with Graves' disease, but all of my needs were met. All of my bills were paid. I never missed a doctor's appointment. I was able to get all of my medication. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that experience. Even though it wasn't a pleasant experience, it taught me so much. And it helped me for the days that were to come as it relates to my health, making better choices. And so I love you so much. I pray that this has encouraged you. If you would, please be so kind to like, to comment, and make sure you subscribe, and even share this with somebody if you feel like this will help them. But I love you so very much, and looking forward to talking to you soon. Mwah.